All right. Let me make sure that the sound is coming through because I got an echo. But that just might be me. All right. Let me make sure that the sound is coming through. No, sound's actually coming through quite nice. All right. Little stream here. Obviously, after Liverpool's abysmal, I'll call it that. I think a lot of people won't have, frankly, the stones to call Liverpool out for how completely embarrassing we have been this season, and of course, in particular today, we were spineless. Yeah, I ultimately was completely disappointed with the entire performance from Liverpool today. There was several things that I think is an issue. Ashley said, "What's up?" Thanks, Ash, because I now know that I need my chat box. Gotta launch that bad boy. Do I have my chat here? It should. Oh. Pardon me, guys. Yeah. Horrible performance from Liverpool. Couple big things that need to be talked about with this whole situation. You know, I think Slot, as you could see on the topics for today's show, I think the Slot out, topic really needs to get spoken about more than it has been, because I really, at this point, I'm really disappointed with Slot. I don't think Liverpool are good enough at this point, and it's just bothering me. It's there's no urgency from the way we play football anymore. It's gutless. It's not good. It's Liverpool currently obviously are fourth in on the Premier League table. Ashley said Slot has got to go. Liverpool are currently fourth on the Premier League in the Premier League table. Not the worst thing I've ever, not the worst, obviously, Liverpool have ever been. The worst spot Liverpool have ever been in before. But the realistic situation is that we have a crop of players that are extremely talented. We invested a bunch of money into bringing in new players who, like I said, are extremely talented. We have a crop of players that have been at the club for quite some time, that we know how good they are, and we're not able to succeed this season. I think a large part of it is the formation. Not even the formation. I shouldn't even say that. I think it's the style of play. It's the patterns of play that really are an issue. Liverpool are way too not urgent for my liking. Liverpool do not have any sort of danger moving forward down the pitch. It's just gutless. It really is. It's a gutless performance from Liverpool. And I knew when I had heard, rather, the announcer talk about how Liverpool have not drawn a game for, years at Anfield. I knew we were going to draw Leeds today. Once I had heard that, I knew the likelihood that Liverpool were going to get a draw just went up exponentially. In the first half, to Slot and the team's credit, the first half of the game was a lot better than the second half. I was surprised at particular moments that Liverpool did not get a goal in the first half. One in particular that really sticks out to me is the opportunity that Hugo Ekitike squared to Florian Wirtz and was blocked. I felt as though Ekitike stayed on his feet, and that really was a big contributing factor to the penalty decision not being given, and I think it was the right decision. I've seen some people online say that they think that that should have been a penalty. I can understand that, but realistically, Ekatike stayed on his feet and really tried to square an opportunity. And even though he was unsuccessful, you can't then say, oh, well, it needs to be a penalty because he was unsuccessful. Because if we scored, they wouldn't have taken it back for a penalty. Sorry, I'm looking at Twitter. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Salah isn't the problem. Why we are so bad? It's Arne Slot tactics. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not even retweet it because it is tactics. It's an inability to be dangerous down the pitch. This is a Leeds team that Liverpool really should not be even competing with, yet we were. It sucks. It sucks. It's not, it's one of the worst feelings as a fan, to go into a game like this, expect a win, and they put in a gutless performance to where we never really even generated opportunities to score, in my opinion. I think it was just as gutless as it can be. And it comes down to Slot. Slot's the leader of the team. Well, not the leader of the team. He's the manager of the club. Great result for Leeds. I do have to be unbiased sometimes and say my opinion on that aspect. I think it was a good result for Leeds. It's away at Anfield. You get a point from it. 2 games against Liverpool. The first game against Leeds at Elland Road was obviously an extremely entertaining one. Didn't go the way that we had wanted it to. 3-3 at the depth. Leeds equalized, and then that ultimately was, the catalyst that resulted in the Mohamed Salah interview post match. Where, obviously he had said that felt as though he was getting kind of squeezed out of the club. So, yeah, it sucks. It's not fun. It's not a fun time to be a Liverpool fan. And what's really, really annoying too is, we're in a top 4 race now, and this is on the heels of Villa dropping points against Arsenal that Liverpool could have capitalized on, to put us higher up in the table against Leeds at home. Currently, we are 6 points behind Aston Villa. We would have then been, 4 behind them at that point. So, it's something. It sucks. But I do believe it's the manager. So that's my big talking point there with Slot. Moving down, Verts, dreadful today, specifically in the second half. I think Verts has been a player that's gotten a lot of criticism. Sometimes not due criticism either. I feel Verts has been someone who, with the team struggling, has not been able to flourish in his own right. Obviously, I think that that's not really the case currently. He has been performing better. Today was not one of those days. The first half, Verts was okay. I want to put that out there. The first half of the game, Florian did decent. We can't act like the first half Liverpool, especially in the beginning of the game, were dangerous. We were creating opportunities, but as the game went on, that obviously stopped. Verts for me in the second half in particular. I know he got hooked at a certain point for Cody Gakpo. In the second half, there was about 3 to 4 different spots where Verts just pissed the ball away. Gave away possession of the ball, and didn't need to. It was like it wasn't like you're running at the back 4 and then you're able to make a pass or something like that. No, Verts gave the ball away in needless situations. Like I said, first half I think he played well. Second half, he was really, really poor. To the point that I almost felt bad for Andy Robertson because in the second half, there was a point in time where Slot decided to take off both Wirtz and Robertson and replace them with obviously Gakpo and Kirkez. And I thought Andy Robertson, particularly in the first half, was playing really, really well. There were a couple opportunities where he put really, really good balls in. And I thought that he was playing decent with Wirtz because what I saw happening a lot on that left-hand side in the first half was Wirtz kind of drifting towards the center of the pitch in the attacking third, and that gave, pulled the right back in a little bit, gave a lot of space there for Andy Robertson to get on the end of balls and put crosses in. Was that maybe something they worked on in the training ground? I don't know, but it definitely felt different. It felt, kind of like there was something new, kind of allowing Andy Robertson to get higher up the pitch. Obviously, when you play with Sadio Mane, that was always something that we saw from Robbo, his ability to get higher up the pitch. I think, and I tweeted it during the game, that a lot of people over the past couple of years have had things to say about Andy Robertson, and I've felt that it wasn't justified, it wasn't due criticism. Or maybe he deserved a little bit of criticism, but it went farther than I felt was necessary in terms of questioning the player's ability. I think Andy Robertson was good today, and I think he's been very good so far this season. Definitely better than Kirkez. While I do think Kirkez deserves some more time, he's a young player, step up in the competition from what he was used to at Bournemouth. So listen, I think Robbo needs to start at that left back position more often than Kirkez does at this point. I don't think Kirkez has been great so far for Liverpool, but Robbo was good. Wirtz first half okay, second half, oh my gosh. The second half performance today from Wirtz, where he was giving away possession, it to me was one of those where I'm like, Liverpool fans I know have gotten annoyed given the fact that Wirtz has gotten criticism so far this season in undue situations. But when I was watching that go on today with him, all I thought to myself was, when the criticism comes for him now, Liverpool fans can't be complaining. We can't be bitching about the fact that Florian is getting undue criticism. He did not play well today. I thought he was not very good for Liverpool. End of. So, and obviously I think that a big issue is the fact that he's really, really, he's going to have to deal with the fact that he's going to have to try to win a spot out on that left wing. That left wing for me is an area I think Liverpool really need to improve on. I don't really love Cody Gakpo out there. Very, very kind of controversial figure amongst Liverpool fans. I know a lot of people really like Gakpo. I think he's a good player, but in terms of where Liverpool want to be, I don't think Cody Gakpo starting off of the left is the best thing for the club. People might disagree. That's fine and everything like that, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't think he's the answer. I think Wirtz off of the left could work, but if he puts performances in like he did today, especially in that second half, I'll be worried. I'll be extremely worried. So yeah, I mean that's it for Wirtz. I don't want to hit too much on him. We'll move down to an interesting part of the game was obviously the boy Jeremy Frimpong playing at right wing. I thought at times he was really, really fun to watch off of the right. I didn't really love the decision, in my opinion, to, in the second half, take Connor Bradley off. Take Connor Bradley off, shift Frimpong to right back, and then bring in, I believe it was Chiesa, to play right wing. I thought Frimpong was doing good on right wing, but if you wanted to make a change, I would have preferred keeping Connor in at right back, and maybe just make a 1-for-1 swap at right wing. Obviously, the manager didn't do that. I don't think that was had a real impact on the game at that point when those changes were being made. I think it was very clear what was going on with Liverpool at that time. I think Liverpool were gutless, spineless, no urgency going forward, and I don't think that change really had an impact on it. But I liked Frimpong at right wing. That's the point of including it in the topics for today's stream. Is I really, really did enjoy Jeremy Frimpong at right wing. I thought he was very, very quick. Obviously, he's a fast player, but for me, the big thing with Frimpong was him getting behind the left back. At certain times, I believe there was a ball put in, it may have been Soboslai, in behind the right back, and Frimpong just used, the ball came in probably around midfield, and Frimpong literally just used his pace to get in behind the back four. And watching him play, it almost, people might find this mad, but it almost reminded me of a young Mo Salah to a certain extent, in the sense that it's like, one thing I think, people have always talked about with Salah is his general footballing ability. It's gotten criticized. It's, been put under a microscope time and time again. But one thing I think that's an underrated quality of Salah is his speed. And especially with the ball at his foot, I always felt Salah was one of the fastest players in world football with the ball at his foot. And watching Frimpong today, not necessarily with the ball at his foot, but in open space, running, it felt like very old school Salah-like. Because Salah to me, his underrated quality is his speed. Frimpong, his very, very clear and obvious attribute is his speed. And I thought it was a breath of fresh air, especially in the first half. Very dangerous, took players on. Which, we don't see out of Liverpool front threes anymore, is ever players to, unless it's Hugo Ekitike. I haven't seen a Liverpool player try to take a guy on at all this season. It's been miserable. So, it was nice. It was nice to see him. Is that going to be the MO of Liverpool moving forward? I think that will really, really be the interesting aspect of it, is that are Liverpool going to try to find different players for that front three? Is Frimpong, when we eventually do move on from Salah, is he going to be the guy that we're going to play at right wing? I don't really know. This is only really the second time I can remember of us seeing it. The first time was a midweek Champions League game, I believe, against... Was it Frankfurt? Eintracht Frankfurt? I think that may have been the game. I believe it was against Frankfurt. And I believe he may have even gotten injured that game. Can't remember off the top of my head. But it was fun to watch today. Kind of one of the only bright spots of that Liverpool performance. Let's see. I know Manchester City are playing right now. I want to see. They're playing Sunderland. Let's see what the result is. Sunderland. 0-0 in the 21st minute. Huh. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, Liverpool, look, end of the day, Liverpool are not in the title race anymore. We are in a top four race. And that's what's... So, with that being said, this result, it's not the end of the world, but it's concerning to see Liverpool play a team that is certifiably a step down in competition, and we're just not able to capitalize on it. We're not able to, have any urgency going forward. We're not able to be dangerous in any capacity. We were just gutless. It just wasn't a fun watch. It was just, not the best, to say the least. But like I said, Frimpong definitely, in my opinion, one of the few actually bright spots from this game today. Hopefully we can see a little more of him at right wing, with Salah obviously off at the African Cup of Nations. Moving on to the last topic I have for the show today. Winter transfers. I think Liverpool have always been a team that, look, obviously there have been big winter transfers, whether we sell a player or we buy a player. The big one for me is always Virgil van Dijk was brought in the winter. Obviously, Fernando Torres was shipped out to Chelsea in the winter. I don't see Liverpool. I would be shocked to see any big sales from Liverpool Football Club this transfer window, with the exception of I heard there's rumors about Federico Chiesa potentially leaving the club, and clubs being interested in him for a transfer. We all know for whatever reason Arne Slot has some sort of damn near animosity against Federico Chiesa. I don't really understand it, to be honest with you. I think Chiesa is a good player. I think that he came on obviously late in today's game, but the only game we've really ever seen Chiesa start in is the Wolverhampton Wanderers game. And look, Wolves are abysmal, so it's like basically like starting him against a championship team. Like it's just I don't really understand it. But that's been the only one I've seen a real interest for a sale there this transfer window. Obviously, in terms of players that Liverpool are interested in, I know there was conversations about Liverpool potentially being interested in Antoine Semenyo. If you've been following along with that saga, Semenyo appears to be on his way to Manchester City, a move that I might make a dedicated video to the Semenyo situation maybe after the stream. Excuse me. I think him going to Liverpool would make a lot more sense than him going to Manchester City. Obviously, Semenyo at Liverpool, for me, he would damn near walk in as an option in the left wing position. Going to Manchester City, you're going to have to compete with the likes of Jeremy Doku if they even play with a left winger. We've seen Manchester City a lot this season play with almost like a 4-3-2-1 with Foden and Cherki sitting behind as like almost attacking midfielders behind Erling Haaland. We have seen them play with wingers. Jeremy Doku has been a standout this season, so I don't understand. For the life of me, I don't understand a player wanting to go to a big club. That's understandable. But going to a big club to where you're going to compete with a guy who is also having a standout season, his best season since joining Manchester City. I think Semenyo going to Manchester City, which it appears to be damn near a done deal, I think he's probably going to end up on the bench. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for Semenyo to try and get a starting spot. To be honest with you, I think that's going to be pretty tough for him. But I understand the decision. Look, Manchester City is one of the biggest teams in the world, let alone in the Premier League. If they are interested in you, I can understand any player having their head turned. The sort of interesting thing about the Semenyo situation is there's reports Liverpool were interested. I don't believe Arsenal were interested, but many big clubs are interested in him, and it seems once City came knocking, he was going to go. Makes sense in terms of the fact that it's Man City. Man City are one of the best teams in the world, but it doesn't make sense positionally for the player, and that's where it really gets kind of interesting. So for the left wing of Liverpool, that really was one of the only players that I was extremely interested in as a potential purchase transfer. But the problem with Liverpool is Liverpool right now, and I think this Leeds game was a reflection of it, Liverpool are not great going forward. There's no urgency. We're not dangerous. It's our biggest issue. And for me, with that being the case, with Liverpool not being dangerous going forward, the obvious question is, well, maybe we should bring in new players in that to fit into that front three. The problem with that is that's probably where Liverpool have the most abundance in talent. Let's just walk through it. Obviously, Alexander Isak is injured, but eventually he's going to come back. So you have Isak and Ekitike as our two number 9s. So Liverpool going out and buying a striker would make no sense. Off the right, we have Mohamed Salah, obviously. We played Federico Chiesa there. And then today we saw Jeremy Frimpong play at right wing. So I just named 3 guys who can potentially play at right wing, and we've seen play there recently. On the left side of the pitch, it's pretty obvious Cody Gakpo and Florian Wirtz are the 2 potential options to play left wing. But also, too, then we saw Rio and Gamoa come on today. Obviously, Rio's a young player, so you're not going to see him as frequently, but that's just the players off the top of my head, guys. Like, we have an abundance of talent, or not talent in the sense of that they're playing their best, but we have an abundance of guys who can play for us in that front 3. So when we see the issue is that in that front 3, does it make sense for us to go out and buy someone when we have that many players? Because to me, all that means is maybe some of these guys, we need to evaluate their position at Liverpool Football Club. Cody Gakpo's a big one. If Antoine Semenyo 65 million, right? I think Liverpool bought. Let me see. I'm gonna look up how much Liverpool bought Cody Gakpo for. How much did? I think it's like 50 million. For Cody Gakpo. And this is not to say that I think he needs to leave. For Cody Gakpo from PSV Eindhoven, with total potential package rising to 44 million to 50 million pound. So yeah, roughly around 50 million pound for Cody Gakpo. I would say his current valuation, I'm looking at, it says 70 million euro on transfermarket.com as a potential. I would say Cody Gakpo, you could probably get 40 million for him. It's maybe fit. You could probably get your money back. You could probably get 50 million for him. And then do you then try to make, because you're not getting rid of Wirtz. That's not happening. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about how well Wirtz has done. Whatever, but you're not getting rid of him. You're keeping him around. We're not going to just call it quits after a couple bad season, or a couple bad performances in his first season. But Gakpo for me is a player that I don't think has done great since joining Liverpool. Certainly, I don't think has done great this season, and it's a player that is keeping Cody Gakpo and playing him regularly best for Liverpool? Are Liverpool going to make the improvements that they can with Cody Gakpo out on the left? I'm not sure. And the reason I say I'm not sure is it's nothing against Cody, but when Gakpo first came to the club, we were playing him as a number 9. The 2 players that competed as our strikers were Darwin Nunez and Cody Gakpo. Since then, we've seen Cody Gakpo get pushed out to left wing, and I can't help but feel like I don't think he's been performing at his best. And what really bothers me about the Gakpo situation is he's a clear favorite of Arne Slot. Arne Slot loves Cody Gakpo, and you can't blame him. He's a hard worker, and he is a good player. But is he what's best for Liverpool? I don't know. I don't think he is. And I think that when I say that, this is a player we bought in a winter transfer window. And for me, we've tried him in 2 different positions. He's a hard worker. He's a good player. But is he a Luis Diaz, a Sadio Mane? And you might say, of course he's not. But those are the players that were integral to Liverpool winning titles. So if we sell Luis Diaz, and the replacement's Cody Gakpo, well, why do we expect things to change? He's not at that same level. I know it. Everyone knows it. Like, it's to a certain extent almost like doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We've seen Gakpo play for Liverpool. It's not the best. He's not a world beater. He's good. He's a hard worker. But I think it might be a player that we should consider moving on from. Will we? No. Because Slot clearly favorites Gakpo. We're far more likely to sell Federico Chiesa. That's a far more likely thing for Liverpool to do, is to keep Cody Gakpo, sell Chiesa. And people don't like these things, but it's the facts of the matter. It's what I'm seeing from the manager. It's having a favorite, Cody Gakpo. Having a player which you clearly have almost some sort of vendetta against when it comes to Federico Chiesa. Because Chiesa's put in performances and scored goals you'd think would warrant him an opportunity to start more games. That hasn't been the case. So that's for me where, the winter transfer things, to fix the problems that Liverpool have, that's where it gets weird, because I don't think the manager has a full scope of maybe where the issues lie. And don't kid yourself. I've seen the rumors of Chiesa potentially leaving Liverpool. If Chiesa does leave Liverpool, I think that will be when the fans potentially turn on Arne Slot. Because he's a fan favorite. He's a hardworking guy who the fans have advocated for Chiesa to get more time. Hasn't happened. So, you have to wonder what Slot's plans are for the player, because he hasn't used him. He hasn't used him, and he has a clear favoritism towards players like Cody Gakpo, who I think has been here for long enough to where, his position in the team should come into question, but it hasn't. So, other potential winter transfers that we could make, obviously center back's a big one. Mark Gahey is the player that Liverpool really get linked with. Obviously, we thought Gahey was going to come to Liverpool in the summer transfer window. As the window expired, that deal obviously collapsed. And then since then, I think that the general perception has been that, Gahey will come to Liverpool next summer when his deal runs out with Crystal Palace. Now, since then, there's been tons of reports that Mark Gahey has actually gotten a lot of interest from Real Madrid. I question the legitimacy of those claims. There's also been rumors that basically Gahey has given Liverpool his word, effectively, that after the season he will join them. I think that it was a situation to where, hey, you can spend $35 million for Mark Gahey in the summer, right? He'll come to the club, but then Crystal Palace will be left without a center back, because don't forget, that deal was rumored to be nearly completed the last day of the transfer window. So there wasn't even time then for Crystal Palace to then go out and find a replacement for Gahey. It was literally Mark Gahey comes to Liverpool, and then Palace are left without a center back replacement for the player. So I don't see Liverpool making a transfer for Gahey, this winter transfer window. I think it's more likely that Liverpool will wait until the summer, wait for his contract to expire, and then try to swoop in for the player, unless there is that Real Madrid pull. I don't think that there will be. But the big rumor was, right, that Real Madrid were very much in for Ibrahima Konate, and since this season and Ibu has not been playing well, there's been a lot of reports that potentially Real Madrid are not in for Ibu Konate anymore because the player hasn't been performing at his best. I don't know. I don't know what to do with Konate at this point because he has not been playing well this season. I like Konate. I think he's always been a good player for Liverpool prior to this season. And then it's like his contract expires. So it's like, do Liverpool put Konate on a new deal and keep him at the club? Do we let him go for a free and then just try to find a replacement? Virgil's also getting older. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes down. And then you have Leone, the Italian kid, who obviously got injured at the beginning of the season. But in the little bit that we saw from Leone, he looked good. So what's Liverpool's plans at center back? I don't know. I really don't. I think there's a lot of moving parts. The thing I worry about is we don't go in for a center back in this winter transfer window and then, knock on wood, Virgil or Ibu gets injured and then we're left with, without a replacement center back. That's what worries me probably the most out of the center back situation. We'll have to see how much that comes to fruition. I don't know. But I would say center back, left wing would be like the two areas that I think Liverpool should improve on if they are to go for any players in the winter transfer window. As I mentioned, left wing, if they're going to do so, you're going to have to sell someone. You're going to have to sell one of our players. There's also been a rumor of Liverpool potentially in the winter canceling the loan of Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott has been on loan at Aston Villa, and that whole thing has gone completely terribly. So is there a potential for Liverpool to try to bring back Harvey Elliott? Maybe, but I don't know. What does Harvey's future really hold at Liverpool? I'm not entirely sure. I'll tell you what, though. A full fit performing Harvey Elliott, I think we could use him in this Liverpool team. But the thing that I question when you talk about that is if Villa had a full fit performing Harvey Elliott, I think we would see him play more, and we haven't. We have not seen him play, and I think that is the concern there. Obviously, left back and right back, we have our players there. Center midfield, I don't think we need to bring in a new center midfielder because, look, Gravenberch I think is a very, very talented player. Alexis McAllister I don't think has been as good this season as we've seen from him in the past, but he's still reliable. And, of course, Dominic Szoboszlai, it's been his breakout year for Liverpool Football Club. But I don't think we need anyone in at center midfield, but I can't help but feel like when I watch the midfield of Liverpool, I don't feel as though there's a control over every single game in the center of the park. That's just my opinion, and I think we have the players to potentially do it, but I just haven't felt they've been performing at their best ability this season, with the exception of Dominic Szoboszlai, who wasn't that great today against Leeds. I don't think it was his best game I've ever seen from him before, but I mean, my gosh, damn near every player for Liverpool was not great today. It was the most bang average mid performance I've seen from the lot of them. So, look, the winter transfer conversation for me, it's a matter of where and who. I don't want Liverpool going out and spending money in areas where we don't necessarily need a new player or new reinforcements in that area. I want Liverpool to be intelligent. I think, like, if Liverpool were to hypothetically have gone in for Antoine Semenyo, I could understand that. very, very talented player, having a great year for Bournemouth. I can understand that move entirely. But I don't want Liverpool to make a jump at a transfer and spend 40 million on a random center back just in case someone gets injured. If Liverpool are to then obviously go in for Gahey in the summer, but and you know, you look at Gahey, right? What would be the money? What would be the amount of money for Liverpool to buy for put a transfer in for Mark Gahey at this point in the season? I don't even know. It was 35 million at the beginning of the season. Is it 17.5 now? If we're using math correctly, and is that worth spending? I don't think so. I think if Gahey's going to come to Liverpool, you say, look, we're not in a title race. We need to get top 4. We probably have the people here to get top 4. We should be able to get top 4 without you. You're not going to win any trophy unless we win the Champions League, knock on wood. I think that's unlikely, given our performances. But you say, listen, we're going to hold off on you until the summer. That gives us time to then see what we're going to do with Ibu Konate. And then we bring you in for free. And if you don't want to come to Liverpool then, you can go off to Real Madrid. We have an entire summer transfer window to then understand where we want to go at the center back position. Because my whole thing with the center back position that a lot of Liverpool fans won't identify and won't talk about is Virgil van Dijk is not a young player. At a certain point, Virgil van Dijk is probably either going to have to take a backseat leadership position or move on from the club. That could be 2-3 years now from this point, but it's going to happen eventually. It's going to happen in the next couple of years. I would like to see Liverpool on all fronts at the center back position prepare for this. I would like to see Liverpool figure out what's the path forward from the Konate situation. Are we going to go in for Gahey? And what does the future hold following Virgil van Dijk? And now that future, that might be Leone. And him being injured this season isn't the biggest issue that we have because we could work on that once he gets back and fit. Because I do expect Virgil to be at Liverpool next season. But Virgil has the remainder of this season and next season on his deal. So there's a chance that following next season, Virgil van Dijk doesn't sign an extension with Liverpool Football Club and continues his career elsewhere. Liverpool need to prepare for that now and not wait for this player, Virgil van Dijk, to leave, and then we have to scramble and figure out what we're going to do. Center back's a weird one because comparatively to left wing, I just don't think we have the right guy at left wing. I think we had the right guy, and we sold him to Bayern Munich. That sucks. We can all bitch about it. It was the wrong decision. But end of the day, I don't feel we have the right guy at left wing, and we're going to need to change that. But what we do have is we have 2 solid center backs. But if one of them goes down, we are screwed. It's kind of a different situation. I think we have several guys who can do okay at the job at left wing, but we don't have the guy. Center back, you can make an argument. We got the guys at center back, but the next man up, maybe Joe Gomez, who we can't. Let's be real, guys. We cannot act like Joe Gomez is going to remain fit. We can't pretend that Joe Gomez will remain fit for the entire remainder of the season. Can't do it. Similar to Connor Bradley, it's like we have players in this Liverpool team who unfortunately they get injured often and for extended periods of time, and Gomez is one of them. But I'd love to know what you guys think in the chat. Where are the areas you'd like to see Liverpool improve? What will there, should we make any moves in the summer transfer window? I don't know. I think we probably should, but some of those moves might be out the door too. Getting some of these players out the door might be the move that Liverpool need to make. Excuse me, I've been fine all day, and I came in this room and got congested. But yeah, that's my breakdown. Today's game, really, let's check the score of the Manchester City game. It's 0-0, is it? Well, that's my game of the Leeds, or my review of the Leeds game. Unfortunately, I don't think Liverpool played well today, and it was lackluster. What concerned me about today's performance, more than anything, is Liverpool Football Club seemed to be okay with a draw against Leeds at home. That's not to say that Liverpool weren't trying to get a late goal in this game, that Liverpool didn't generate opportunities in the first half. But as the game was winding towards its end, let's say the last 20 minutes, I would have expected Liverpool to start playing damn near with a sense of reckless abandonment, in the sense that a draw at home to Leeds United is a bad result. And I did not feel as though Liverpool felt that way. The way Liverpool were playing, to me, felt as though a draw at home to Leeds United would be an okay result. And we'll try to get a late winner. But if we don't get one, that will be okay. Because the manager is not going to get sacked from a draw at home against Leeds. Especially, we've had a good run of games prior to this. And I don't think there's many players, with the exception of maybe Florian Wirtz, who you can really point the finger of blame at and say, you were really not playing well. But ultimately, I feel Liverpool were okay with this result. They might not admit it, but the general display of how they were at the end of that game felt as though they were okay with securing 1 point. For me, that's not good enough. This was an opportunity for Liverpool in our top 4 race to gain a little traction on Aston Villa. Like I said earlier in the stream, Liverpool are currently 6 points behind Aston Villa. We would have been 4 if we won today. In a game that I expect Liverpool to win. Last season, Liverpool were the champions of the Premier League. Leeds were in the Championship. Liverpool then invested hundreds of millions of pounds into this team, and they've been unsuccessful. Leeds, I believe, are 6 points above the relegation zone. Liverpool are in a top 4 race. These are results Liverpool need to win. I've watched the Premier League my whole life. You're not going to get top 4 by consistently picking up these results and being okay with it. Because what annoys me about the performance today is, given the result, it's not the end of the world. It's a draw. Every once in a while you have an off day and you get a draw. Liverpool have had a lot of off days this season. And the performance wasn't good enough. That's what it comes down to. Honestly and truthfully, if Liverpool want to get to the areas where they want to be, the performances need to be better. And Liverpool, in terms of the manager, the club, the hierarchy at the club, they need to evaluate some players in this team. And maybe, since we're on the topic of winter transfers, maybe they're best suited elsewhere. That's my opinion on the whole thing. You guys will have to let me know what you think in the chat. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. Honestly and truthfully, Salah, when Mohamed Salah comes back to Liverpool, I think a lot of people are going to be looking at it from the perspective of maybe Salah wasn't wrong. Maybe it's not Mo Salah is the issue. Maybe it's the tactics that we're getting from the manager. Because Mo Salah, just under a year ago, was the highest scorer in the Premier League with the most assists. Now, Mo Salah is, not at that same level. Is it a fall off in his form? Or is it a fall off in Liverpool? I don't know. I do not know. Ashley said, great stream. Thanks, Ash. Probably going to end the stream here just in a moment. It was a fun one. I haven't streamed in a little bit. This was definitely a fun one. So yeah. Don't forget, for anyone who watches along, to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell as well. Closing in on 1,000 subs, which I absolutely love. I can't wait to hit that 1,000 mark. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But thank you all for anyone who watched along. Really, really fun. Liverpool, unfortunately, not playing our best. It's an issue. It's a massive problem. I hope we can make the changes that we need to make. But the thing that concerns me is us going down a path that will ultimately result in us being like a United. Well, thank you all for watching. Happy New Year. I hope you all had a happy holidays as well. Looking forward to 2026. So, thank you guys. Bye.